Motivation fades, but discipline never lies. You know, everyone loves that feeling of being motivated, that rush of energy that makes you want to conquer the world. Here's the problem: it doesn't last. Motivation isn't all, it depends on how you feel. And feelings change. One day you're fired up, the next day you don't even want to get out of bed. That's where discipline steps in. Discipline doesn't care about how you feel, it cares about what you said you would do. It's the quiet voice that says, I don't feel like it, but I'll do it anyway. See, anyone can act when they're excited. The real test of character is when the excitement is gone and you still show up. That's the difference between people who dream and people who achieve. Motivation will get you started, but discipline will keep you going. Because no matter what, motivation fades, but discipline never lies. You know, most people believe success is built on how they feel. They say things like, I just need to be in the right mindset, or I'll start when I feel ready. But if you wait for your feelings to line up before you take action, you'll wait forever. Because here's the truth: feelings are unreliable. They come and go like the weather. One day you're full of fire, ready to change your life. The next day you're tired, unmotivated, and questioning everything. That's life. And if you build your discipline on your emotions, your foundation will always crack. Consistency, on the other hand, doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't need motivation. It's simple. You show up again and again, no matter what. The people who win in life aren't the ones who feel the best. They're the ones who do the most. They don't ask, do I feel like it today? They ask, what needs to be done today? That's how growth happens. Not in the bursts of inspiration, but in the boring repetition of effort. Think about an athlete. They don't wake up every morning excited to train. They do it because it's who they are. They've built their identity around consistency, not feelings. That's what separates the great from the average. The average person moves when they feel good. The great ones move regardless. You see, feelings will tell you to quit when things get hard. Feelings will whisper, maybe tomorrow. But consistency will tell you, keep going. You're building something real. Every small action you repeat, every time you show up when you don't want to, you're laying a brick. And over time, those bricks become a wall. A strong wall of self-trust, discipline, and results. That's the irony. Discipline looks boring from the outside. It's just repetition. Inside that repetition lies transformation. When you're consistent long enough, something magical happens. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop needing motivation because action becomes automatic. And when that happens, you become unstoppable. People will look at your success and say, you're lucky or you're naturally disciplined. But you'll know the truth: you didn't feel like it every day. You just didn't stop. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about persistence. You'll fail, you'll fall, but you'll keep moving. Because at the end of the day, it's not about feeling good. It's about being committed. So remember this: if you want real success, stop chasing motivation and start building consistency. Because feelings may change, actions repeated over time, they build empires. Success doesn't belong to those who feel ready. It belongs to those who stay ready. We live in a world obsessed with comfort. Everything around us is designed to make life easier. Faster delivery, instant results, one-click everything. And yet, the easier life gets, the softer we become. We've forgotten something powerful, something ancient: discipline. Discipline is the muscle that separates the dreamers from the doers. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. In fact, it's uncomfortable. But that's what makes it real. See, everyone loves the idea of success, the applause, the recognition, the reward. But few are willing to go through the parts that nobody sees. The early mornings, the late nights, the repetition, the silence, the grind. Because discipline isn't about doing what's easy. It's about doing what's necessary. When you rely on motivation, you'll only move when it's convenient. When you're disciplined, you move because it's your standard. It's who you are. You don't need to be in the mood. You just do it. That's the beauty of discipline. It frees you from the chaos of your emotions. You don't have to debate with yourself every morning. You don't have to ask, should I do it? You already know the answer. Yes. Discipline is the quiet agreement between you and your future. It's the promise you make to yourself that says, no matter how I feel, keep showing up. And here's the secret: it's not about being perfect. You're going to fail. You're going to slip. You're going to have days when you want to quit. Discipline isn't about never falling. It's about never staying down. When you choose discipline, you take back control. You stop being a victim of your moods, and you start becoming the author of your results. You start to trust yourself again. And that self-trust, that's where real confidence is born. Confidence doesn't come from a pep talk or a motivational quote. It comes from keeping the promises you make to yourself over and over again. You say you'll go to the gym, and you go. You say you'll wake up early, and you do. You say you'll stay focused, and you follow through. Each time you do that, you're telling your mind, I can rely on me. That's what discipline gives you. Power. Not the kind that shouts, but the kind that lasts. So the next time you don't feel like doing it, remember, that's exactly when it matters most. Anyone can act when it's easy. But when it's hard, when it's uncomfortable, when it's the last thing you want to do, that's where greatness is built. Because in that moment, you're not following your feelings. You're following your purpose. That's what true discipline is all about. Doing what needs to be done, even when you don't want to. Everybody wants big results. We all want the success story, the transformation, the breakthrough, the overnight success. But here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. There's no such thing as overnight success. What looks like a sudden victory from the outside is almost always years of invisible effort on the inside. It's not the one big moment that changes your life. It's the small, daily actions that compound over time. See, success doesn't come from doing one thing perfectly once. It comes from doing small things consistently thousands of times. Discipline isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's quiet, patient, and painfully repetitive. Think of a sculptor working on a block of marble. Every day they chip away, a little here, a little there. To most people, it looks like nothing's changing. But over time, those small chips create something extraordinary. That's what discipline does to your life. The problem is most people quit before the results show up. They expect instant feedback, instant growth, instant validation. But life doesn't reward the impatient. Life rewards the consistent. Every small choice you make, the decision to get up early, to study a little longer, to say no to distractions. These choices add up. They seem insignificant in the moment, but they're quietly building your future. And here's the catch. You won't see the payoff right away. That's why most people stop. They confuse slow progress with no progress. But real growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time. That's why discipline matters so much. It bridges the gap between your effort and your results. It keeps you going when you can't yet see what you're working toward. The secret to massive results is incredibly simple. Do small things consistently for a very long time. That's it. Wake up 1 hour earlier, read 10 pages a day, put in 1 extra rep at the gym, have one more conversation that pushes you forward. Do that for a week, you'll feel a change. Do that for a month, you'll see a change. Do that for a year, you'll become the change. Because small disciplines repeated with purpose turn into habits. Habits repeated with focus turn into lifestyle. And lifestyle lived with integrity turns into legacy. That's how greatness is built, one small action at a time. You don't need to take massive leaps. You just need to take small steps every single day. So stop waiting for the perfect plan or the perfect moment. Start small. Start messy. Start today. Because the truth is, success isn't found in the big moments that everyone celebrates. It's built quietly in the moments that no one sees. And one day, when people ask how you did it, you'll smile and say, I just showed up every day and did the small things that mattered. That's the truth about discipline. Small daily actions create massive long-term results. We talk a lot about trusting others, trusting teams, trusting leaders, trusting friends. But we rarely talk about the most important kind of trust, trusting yourself. Because let's be honest, how can you lead others? How can you build anything meaningful if deep down you don't even trust your own word? That's where discipline comes in. Discipline isn't just about grinding or hustling, it's about keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say, wake up early, and you actually do it, you're sending yourself a message, I can rely on me. Every time you push through the workout, even when you don't want to, you're building evidence, I follow through. Every time you stay focused when it would be easier to quit, you're strengthening the most important relationship in your life, the one you have with yourself. See, self-trust isn't built through words, it's built through action. You can tell yourself all day long that you're disciplined, but until your actions prove it, your mind won't believe it. The real reason so many people lack confidence isn't because they're incapable. It's because they've broken too many promises to themselves. They've said, I'll start Monday 100 times and didn't. They've said, I'll change and never did. And now, deep down, their brain has stopped believing their words. But the moment you start following through, even on the smallest commitments, something powerful happens. Your self-respect starts to return. Your inner voice gets quieter. Your confidence starts to grow, not from outside validation, but from within. That's what discipline does. It rebuilds your self-trust, one decision at a time. And here's the part people don't realize. Once you trust yourself, you become unshakable. You don't need constant motivation. You don't need external validation. Because you know, if you say you'll do it, you will. That's inner strength. That's real power. It's not about arrogance or ego. It's about certainty. The quiet certainty that says, I've been here before. I've done hard things before, and I can do them again. When life gets tough, and it always will, discipline is what keeps you grounded. It's what reminds you who you are when everything else feels uncertain. So many people chase motivation, but they overlook this motivation makes you feel good about yourself. Discipline makes you trust yourself, and trust lasts longer than any burst of inspiration. So the next time you're tempted to skip the work or make an excuse, remember, it's not just about missing one task. It's about breaking a promise to yourself. And every broken promise weakens the foundation you're standing on. Every kept promise, no matter how small, strengthens it. That's how you build real confidence. That's how you build real strength. Because when you trust yourself fully, you stop waiting for someone to save you. You realize you've had the power all along. That's the gift of discipline. It builds self-trust and inner strength that no one can take away from you. Motivation fades, but discipline never lies. It's a powerful sentence, almost uncomfortable, because it tells the truth we don't want to face. We all love motivation. We crave it. It feels good. It makes us believe that we can change everything overnight. But the truth is, motivation is a feeling, and feelings are temporary. You can watch the most inspiring video, listen to the most powerful speech, and wake up the next morning feeling empty again. Why? Because motivation is emotional fuel. It burns hot and fast, but it doesn't last long enough to take you to the finish line. That's where discipline steps in. Discipline isn't about how you feel, it's about who you are. See, motivation will tell you, start when you feel ready. Discipline will tell you, start anyway. Motivation depends on emotion. Discipline depends on decision. And decisions, real, consistent decisions, shape your future. When you live by motivation, your life becomes unpredictable. You're productive only when you feel like it. You're confident only when things are easy. You're focused only when everything goes your way. Life doesn't work like that. Life is messy, it's hard, it's unfair. And in those moments when everything feels heavy, motivation disappears. It's nowhere to be found. Discipline stays. It's the part of you that says, I don't care how I feel. I'll do it anyway. That's the truth most people don't want to accept. Because it's not sexy, it's not exciting, it's repetitive, it's lonely, it's quiet. But that's also why it works. Discipline doesn't lie to you. It doesn't promise instant results or easy wins. It promises one thing, progress. Slow, steady, undeniable progress. Every single time you choose discipline over comfort, you're rewriting your story. You're proving to yourself that your word means something, that your actions match your intentions. And that's something motivation can never give you. Because motivation talks, discipline acts. You can't fake discipline. You can post about it, talk about it, hashtag it, but real discipline lives in the dark, away from attention. It's in the quiet mornings, the late nights, the times no one is watching and no one is cheering. That's where discipline shows its truth. And that's why it never lies. Motivation says, you can do it. Discipline says, I will do it. Motivation makes you feel powerful for a moment. Discipline makes you unstoppable for life. So when motivation runs out, and it will, don't panic. That's your cue to lean on discipline, to keep moving, to trust the process even when it feels invisible. Because at the end of the day, results don't come from how often you're motivated. They come from how consistently you're disciplined. So remember this, motivation might light the spark, but only discipline keeps the fire burning, because in every area of life, business, fitness, relationships, dreams, the truth remains the same, motivation fades, but discipline never lies.